السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. YouTube, how are we doing, YouTube? It is good to be back. Oh, mate, got another tab open and had to hear my voice again. What are we saying, guys? How we doing? السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. You are here joining me today for a banger, inshallah ta'ala. I put an anonymous question, confessions poll or confessions link on my Instagram, giving you guys the opportunity to ask me things that you may not feel too comfortable asking me on DM directly. And I've made a PowerPoint presentation out of it. And I'm going to be going through these questions one by one, inshallah. We've got work to do. But before we do that, let's give some love to the chat, because today I'm going to be involved. I'm going to be involving you guys in the chat a lot today. All right. I might even just give the questions over to you guys at this point first and see what you might have to say. And then I'll open up the lines after that, time permitting, inshallah ta'ala. Let's see what we're saying here. Siddiqi Kamara. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Anas Swede. Don't know if I said that correctly, bro. Forgive me. Assalamu alaikum. Your talk. You know them ones, bro. Zabit. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Leo. What are you saying, bro? J Kane. Assalamu alaikum. BBC Quid. I don't know where you guys get these names from, bro. TikTok like Arfo Fun. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Mr. Ben Ikra. We've got around 49, I think, bro. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, Vegeta, man, looking like NSYNC, bruv. That's a mad violation, bruv. Mad violation. Bro's got that kohol on man's a problem. Bro's got that kohol on man's a problem. You know, a lot of people think that I wear eyeliner on man's fruity or something. Bruv, this is from the sunnah, man. Leave it out, honestly. And you know what? I kind of like it. And I've actually gotten better at applying it now. Now I no longer make a mess. It only took me like 2 years. But now I finally got the hang of it. I know how to put it on properly. It's these big clunky fingers, bro. It's like, boom, putting it all over my face. It's all dripping down my eyelashes and eyebrows. Sorry, not eyebrow. Cheekbones and all of that. But now I figured it out. I've got a thinner application stick. I don't actually have it in here right now. Otherwise, I'd show you guys. But yeah, kohal is the one, man. It's from the sunnah. It's good for your eyes. Good to put it on before you go to bed as well. Fresh cut, you know them ones, bro. Shout out to you, Akhi. Carolyn Lindsay. Oh, shout out to you, Carolyn. The 0.5% of the women who... That's not even true, actually. Around 23% of my audience are women. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Carolyn Lindsay Ababne. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Ja'far, what are you saying, bro? All right. Listen, yeah, I was just having a conversation with one of the brothers in the Mahdi method community, okay? I had a private consultation with him. And by the way, guys, if you man are struggling to get married, there's a link in the description. Go and watch that video. It's free. Just watch it, all right? Do yourselves a favor and go and watch that video that's in the description right now. And he mentioned to me the situation that he was going through. And before I talk or interject, I always give the man the opportunity to give me as much detail as I can, because I don't want to jump to any conclusions before getting a big, like, holistic picture. Yeah, I need to see the full picture as best I can. And one thing you mentioned that stuck out, or struck out, whichever way, was that he mentioned with one sister he was talking to that he said to her off rip, I don't want my wife to work. She has to stay at home. And many of you guys in the chat right now would be like, yeah, obviously, Mahdi, like, what's the problem with that, bro? Do you know what I mean? Like, big man thing. And whilst I would agree with you, I would disagree with the manner in which you are presenting that statement. Okay? There are two ways we can say this. My wife can't work. She must stay at home and cook and clean and, yeah, fill in the rest. Or, you know what it is? I just want to take care of my woman. Like, I just want her to just really working is long, bruv. It's stressful, it's long, and I just want my woman to just be cushy, taken care of at home. Billahi, tell me, which one sounds more like, yeah, I want to buy? Which one is it? That was the latter. And when you're talking to a woman who is not in your frame, how could she be? She's not married to you. but hoping that you're keeping it within the remit of halala. Okay, I'm just going to have a good thought of you guys and presuming that you are. She's not in your frame. You have very small margin for error. When a sister is first just getting to know you, she might agree with you in principle. She might be like, you know what, yeah, I don't, so I'm okay. Well, staying at home, that's fine by me. But because of the way you said it, you got her back up, and now she wants to be stubborn for the sake of it, or you scared her off. And now she's like, God, this guy's so strict. Like, I don't even know him and he's behaving like this. Imagine how he'll be after marriage. And you might be like a stellar brother. And you may well be like the most amazing brother around. But because you're operating from a position of fear, your statements come out of your mouth with a fearful tone. My wife must stay at home and she cannot work. Whilst I don't disagree in principle with what you're saying, I disagree with how you're selling. You're not selling yourself very well. You could do a much better job of selling yourself. That's all I'm saying, bruv. You understand? Sell yourselves better, guys, especially when you're dealing with sisters on marriage apps and whatnot, because trust and believe, you're not the only one she's talking to. You guys know this. You're one of many, and you put one toenail out of line, she's like, oh, next. The paradox of choice. It's a shame. All right, khair. It is. Look at this guy in the chat right now, yeah? This guy was here before the stream began. I wonder what useless chat Mahdi is going to be talking about today. And he's still here, or she, probably a she, a whole 6 minutes and 33 seconds later, again, same old useless talks. Let's pick out a couple of things here. Hey, you know what? Let's just pull this on the screen. Again, Billahi, tell me, how many times do you watch me? You can't help yourself, can you? You just can't help yourself. You have to watch. You need to know. Again, same old useless talks. Okay, fine, I'm useless. What does that say about you, bruv? For having invested the past 7 minutes and 02 seconds of your life in listening to some useless guy waffling on YouTube. What does that say about you? At least I'm doing the waffle. You're consuming the waffle. The waffle is coming out of my mouth, but it's going into your brain. Who's the fool, bruv? Oh my days. You know this. That person is a fan. All right, khair inshallah. Right, we've got a whole bunch of confessions to go through. Let's just pull this up on the screen one time. I will open up the chat, by the way, for you guys to call in if you so wish, halfway through, and I will be prioritizing those with cams on. All right, if you don't have your cam on, I'm not prioritizing you because it makes for a poor viewer experience. So you can see the first confession on the screen right now. I have recently divorced my wife. Just get this off. She is still madly in love with me and is causing issues and coming to my house every day. What do I do? Bro, to be honest with you, either you marry her again or you just dead it and just deal with it. It is what it is, bro. Like, she won't bother you forever. And here's the thing. If you're entertaining her in discussion, then she will. You're giving her hope. If you're entertaining her in discussion in any way, shape, or form, she will continue bothering you and badgering you. But if you dead it, just like a candle, a flame, if you put something on top of the flame, eventually the flame will go out. You suffocate it, suffocate the flame of oxygen, and the flame will eventually go out. Suffocate her of your communication, and the flame of desire within her will eventually diminish. Will it be gotten rid of immediately? I don't know. Maybe you alpha widowed her. Who knows? That's up for discussion. But at least her pestering you and badgering you will diminish dramatically. Woof. Subhanallah. Look at this. I'm 29 and impotent. Wow. All right, listen, guys. Yeah, pay attention here, okay? I'm 29 and impotent. Porn addiction. I have no goals, no achievements, no nothing in life. A proper bum and waste man because of this. Brothers, stay away from this filth. Wallah, it will slowly kill any life drive you have. You won't see it in the moment, but the after effects will fully destroy your mind and soul. You heard it from the horse's mouth. For you who is watching porn right now, you know porn's haram, okay? But maybe that's not enough for you, okay? It's killing your brain. You know, when you get married, yeah, this is going to be you when you get married. If you get married, it's going to be a wedding night. The guests have all left. You've done the venue. You spent so much money on this big grand wedding. Maybe you had a couple of supercars and it was just an amazing day. Your wife was dressed up beautifully. She was wearing a beautiful dress. Maybe she even had a couple of dresses if it's an Arab wedding, and she's switching in and out of the different ones. The families are happy. The food was incredible. The entertainment was blissful. Amazing. All that is left is for you to whisk your wife off her feet and sail off into the sunset, perhaps on your honeymoon. And you take her to the hotel that night, or maybe to your home. But let's just imagine, yeah, just imagine we've had a beautiful day. Like, we can't just go home, bro. We've got to go to a hotel, a nice 5-star hotel, maybe even 6-star if you're lucky enough. Beautiful spa, flower petals on the bed, all sorts. And your wife, she gets out of her wedding dress and into something more appropriate for the intimate setting. And you yourself, you get out of your salwar qameez, your thobe, your tuxedo, whatever it is that you are wearing, and you're in your boxes. And you know what? You were training hard 3 months prior to this marriage as well, because you wanted to be in the shape of your life. Man and woman, husband and wife, you and her come together and you get into the bed. And you start touching, cuddling, stroking, caressing, squeezing, pecking and kissing, and so on and so on and so on. And now the time comes for you to pull your pants down. Whoops! Lo and behold, Jono refuses to respond to the call of duty. Try as you might, you can't get it up. And now your wife is crying. She thinks you can't get it up because she's ugly, because of her nose, or because she's too fat, or because of fill in the blank. It doesn't really matter. And now this whole beautiful experience has been completely ruined because you couldn't get Ba'lam. Forget Jono. Ba'lam. You couldn't get him up and running. It's not even Ba'lam. It's Ba'lam. Ba'lam. You couldn't get him into action. How do you feel? Imagine the humiliation. Might just chop your balls off at this point. Castrate yourself. Why? For what? Why do you have them? That's how you're going to feel. So if you are suffering from a porn addiction and you are genuinely sincere in wanting to do something about it, then do something about it. I have a highlight reel on my Instagram at the Mahdi Tijani. The links are in the description. Go and find it. Free stuff there. Just go through the highlight reel. Help yourself. Ask Allah to help you through this, and He will make a way out for you. He will help you if you are sincere. Or you can be like, Balam. Bing. No, it's too big. Bing. And it's not even up, bro. It's just like soft and stuff. That's your fate, my friend. Call of Duty indeed, solo traveler. All right, next one. Really need your thoughts on letting my wife exercise her dominant kinks. Marriage is all good and she's in my frame, so don't worry about that. Advice, please. Hell no. Brother, are you mad? Yani, dominant, what are we talking about here? And I don't want to get too crude and stuff, but bruv, no. Firstly and foremostly, how do you know this is not a competency test? This may well be a competency test, not a kink, but a test to see if you will give in. Why? Because it goes against her fitra. And I'm presuming the fact that you have actually gone out of your way to message me that we're talking about things like, I don't know, bruv, like she wants to slap you up and choke you and bend you over or something. I don't know. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just guessing at this point, okay? No. Because she might think that she likes that. But if you actually acquiesce and give in to her, she'll actually go off you. And she will completely lose respect for you after the fact. Feelings-based creatures as they are, she will lose respect for you after the fact. Bro, listen to that inner voice, the inner alpha, like AMS would say. Listen to your inner alpha. He's talking to you. The fact that you messaged me is proof enough that you know something is off. It's like alarm bells are ringing. Like, no, bam, bam, bam. Alarm bells are going off. Nah, bro. Allow it, fam. I saw a reel the other day where a woman was saying her husband asks for consent every time, and the girls were saying things like, men like these do exist, basically drooling all over these men. And all I want is when I get married is for my man to force the shit out of me. I don't know. Either I'm not normal or they are. Bruv, you can't make this up. You cannot make this up. Sweetheart, you're normal. They're not. I hope that answers your question. And by the way, these girls who are all saying, oh, yeah, are men like this do exist, they are either women who have never experienced a man, just little girls in the comments, especially if it's TikTok, but she's saying it's a real, it's Instagram, or they are women who, in principle, because they have been brainwashed with the feminist brainwashing, and that's why you need to know how to eradicate that software that's been installed in her mind. And it is software, it's not hardware, because she is born upon her fitrah, the natural disposition that she is born upon, as we all are. It was then corrupted, the fitrah was corrupted, her natural disposition, with this faulty virus software, the feminist software. So she thinks that she likes that she should be attracted to that, but in reality, it's all garbage. It's all garbage. I'm not saying, by the way, to force yourself upon your woman against her will if she genuinely doesn't want to. That's not what I'm saying. Don't get it twisted out here. Yeah, don't go and catch a case. I am not saying that. I am simply saying to present yourself confidently and dominantly to your woman if you are in a loving marriage together. This is the way. This is the way. I've married a woman secretly without telling my family due to cultural reasons. She's pregnant now, and the baby is due in August. You're seeing this in the thumbnail. You didn't even ask me a question, bro. What do you want me to tell you? Am I your agony uncle or something? Uncle Mahdi, agony uncle. I've married a woman secretly without telling my family due to culture. She's pregnant now and the baby's due in August. That's like, well, there you go, bro. It happens, big man. What do you want me to tell you? Okay, your wife's pregnant. She's going to have a baby. It looks like you're going to have to tell your family. It's not the end of the world. If that's what you want to know. It's not the end of the world. You'll get through this, okay? If you married her, khalas, you did it in halal. It's not a product of, it's not a bastard child. Or it's not a product of zina. It is what it is, bruv. I'm assuming it's second wife as well, because typically the first wife, like, you let the family in. That's life. When man and woman get together, sometimes that happens. When you engage in coitus, sometimes procreation is the end result of that. I'm 19, female, and I want to get married, but I don't know how to tell my parents, and I don't have any older siblings or family nearby. Advice, please. First and foremost, there's 160 of you in the chat and hardly any likes, so make sure you like the video on your way in. It is free. Or dislike it, I don't care if you're one of the haters. All right, dislike the chat, dislike the stream. How do you tell your family that you want to get married? Like this, sister. Are you watching? Mom, dad, I'd like to get married. How hard was that? Now, there are some families who are steeped deeply into their cultures who would react badly to this. No, you must finish your studies first. No, you must do this, that, and the third first. No, whatever. You saying you don't have older siblings, which is an indication to me that you won't have a hierarchy problem in certain cultures. The older sibling must get married first in that order, all the way down. You can't be like skipping the queue, basically. You won't have that problem. So you just tell them. And then if they respond negatively, then you deal with it from there. Message me again if you like. And if they respond in the affirmative, fantastic. How do you tell them? Just tell them. Why are you arrogant? I kept this slide intentionally because I want to address this. People often mistake, or not mistake, they can't stand with how much conviction and certainty you are prepared to stand for something. Particularly your detractors, individuals who don't like what you have to say. It rubs them up the wrong way. They can't stand that. Not only will you refuse to back down, but you continue presenting your position with so much unwavering, unerring confidence, like what you're saying is gospel. Yes, that conviction, my friend, comes from knowledge in combination with experience. Knowledge in combination with experience equals conviction. It is not arrogance. It is unerring conviction. Peasants. Biggest regret. The amount of times I've been asked this question. Whenever I'm asked what is my biggest regret, I have to genuinely sit and think for a long time. And I assume that when people are asked this question, typically that an immediate regret comes to their mind straight away. And that is simply not the case for me. And I sit and I've thought about this question and I have realized that in my life, I have no regrets. You might think, well, how is that possible? I'll explain to you how. I've made plenty of mistakes and I've experienced plenty of failures, but I don't have any regrets. And the reason being is because I have always done what I needed to do or wanted to do or believed I should have done, irrespective of the consequences thereof, irrespective of the fear of failure. I'll do it. If I'm happy to live with, all right, that didn't work out, that was a failure. I can live with that. I can't live with what if. What if I had done that? What if I had plucked up the courage to do it? What would have happened? That kills me. I cannot live my life like that. I'm happy to live with failure. I accept that the majority of things I try and do will end up in failure. That's absolutely fine. I can deal with that. I can't deal with not knowing or not trying because I was too scared, because I was a coward. So the answer to this question genuinely is I have no biggest regret. I can't think of anything, and that's because I've always taken the action when the opportunity presented itself, even if it ended up in failure. I can accept that. I can live with that. I can't live with what if. Human says knowledge plus experience equals wisdom. There you go. Perfect. Absolutely. From where I come from, women undergo FGM, that is female genital mutilation, where their clitoris is cut off. Does this mean that she won't experience sexual pleasure and instead pain? So I don't know a ton about FGM, but I know a little bit. And from what I understand, so the reason why in certain cultures they implement FGM is to protect their daughters from zina, fornication. But this is mistaken. They are mistaken. They have been misled. All right. Because what they end up doing is completely trashing their daughter's ability to be intimate with their husband once they do get married. So it's like smiting your nose to hurt your face. It's like, okay, I'm going to try and prevent this, but I'm also going to end up destroying everything else. It's like, what was the point? It's like hitting the nuclear button. Okay, I'm going to destroy my enemy, but I'll destroy myself too. What was the point? Everyone's destroyed. And yes, there are negative consequences to this. I don't know a ton, but I do know I've heard a couple of cases, specific cases, individuals that I've spoken to, and it affects intimacy. It affects her ability to become moist, there, like wet, to lubricate, to self-lubricate, naturally lubricate herself. And foreplay has to be extended for a long time sometimes in order to finally get her there and ready to go. So there are many negative consequences to this. However, I am not an expert, so don't take what I've said as gospel. I'm just giving you like the basic stuff, okay? And if you're a parent who's considering this, don't do it. If I'm not mistaken, there is something from the Sunnah about a partial cut, a small cut, but they end up annihilating the whole thing. That's not, it's not good for anyone. I don't even want to touch a bin until I got my racks. All right, let's talk about this. I put a message up on one of my private groups yesterday, and instead of me trying to flip in, just reel off what I'm saying ad hoc, I'll just read it to you what I said. And that is, marrying for the first time but with a lot of money is like driving a car for the first time, but the car is a Bugatti. You'll crash it. You need to learn in a Nissan Micra on a Nissan Micra budget. In this way, you are forced to develop soft skills to compensate for your lack of wealth. Then you purchase an Astra, then maybe a 3 Series, then an AMG, then a Ferrari, then a Bugatti. Do it in that order, and the Bugatti will get you to your destination infinitely faster than a Nissan Micra. Obviously, fail to do it in that order, and you'll just crash the thing, crash the marriage. Now, you think it sounds logical, right? I need to get my racks up. I need to make bare peas, bro, before I get married. And no doubt about it, financial stability, not riches, is an important thing. There's no doubt about this. But if you think that, right, I'm going to get rich first and then deal with the money, this is what's going to happen, bro. You're going to be like, what's her name? Well, what's his name? Fahad, man like Fahad from Dubai Bling. You just end up like him. The way you will curb your wife's bad behavior, the way you'll keep her in check is just by dashing money at her. That's it. There was one Instagram marriage influencer or relationship influencer, Sadia Khan, I think her name is. She said the amount of men in Dubai who don't know that they're getting finessed, rich men she's talking about, quote unquote high value men, that don't know that they're getting finessed, she said it's just too many. They have their wives, house, bought her a house, condo, car, monthly allowance, whatever. And she's gone on dates with her boyfriends, not just one, different boyfriends, living the life. Why? Because money will attract women. There's no doubt about that, like honey to the bees. But will you be able to get the best out of her? Do you know how to manage her? If you learn how to manage her on hard mode, when you had, or them for that matter, when you had little money, you're going to become a complete stud muffin with women once you do get money. Just as if you learn how to drive the Nissan Micra, and then the Vauxhall Astra, and then the BMW 3 Series, and then the AMG, and then the Ferrari, and then the Bugatti, you mastered all those cars before. By the time you get into the Bugatti, you're going to have a great time. You're going to have an amazing ride because you know how to drive it. But building up loads of wealth and then getting married, it's like hopping into a Bugatti for the first time that you've ever driven in your life. You will crash it. It will be an awful experience. Best case scenario, worst case scenario, you will crash it. So stop thinking that, okay, money's going to solve my problems. No, money will open up a pool of prospects, but it will not solve your problems on how to manage those prospects. Do you know what one of the most common complaints rich men have with regards to their women is? I don't know if she's just with me for my money. Do you know why they feel like that? Because they never mastered the soft skills when they had little. And they focus so deeply on their money first and women after that now they are plagued by, is she just with me for my money? And whilst there is nothing wrong with a woman finding a man attractive because of his financial stability, there is absolutely a problem if she just wants you for your money. You know why? Because, bro, who guaranteed that you're always going to have that money? Let's say you make your racks and your stacks and now you're wealthy. Who said you're not going to be tested with loss of wealth? Allah says it in the Quran. We will test you with loss of wealth and life and many other things. Who said you're not going to lose it again? And then you'll lose the woman with it at the same time because you used your money as a crutch, as a walking stick to get the bint in the first place. And then the moment the walking stick was taken away from you, you fell over like a cripple. What did you expect? Learn the game at the same time. Shout out to Ragnar. Let's pull up this super real quick. $4.99 super chat. Shout out to you, bro. Assalamu alaikum. Long time supporter. Mahdi, can you do some actual content? This is so boring. I miss the 1v1 calls you used to do, or the vid reaction to trending things. But bro, you're still watching, bro. Shout out to you, Akhi. I appreciate this. First of all, there is a video releases every week on my channel on a Wednesday. Put your notifications on. 6 p.m. UK time, every single Wednesday, a new video releases. The video reaction stuff, I no longer do it anymore unless there's like an exceptional case. And the reason being is I noticed that I was attracting an audience of a low quality audience of individuals who just want to be entertained for the sake of it. They don't actually want to learn. And whilst I will be opening up the lines later on for you guys to call me in, I'm not a clown, bro. There are clown YouTubers out there. I get that. I'm an edutainer. I'll accept that. But I'm not an entertainer. I ain't no clown. I'm here to educate firstly and foremostly. And the entertainment comes secondarily. Will the intimacy be better when you marry a second wife, or will you not have enough energy for one of the wives? Excellent question. Let me say that again. Will the intimacy be better when you marry a second wife, or will you not have enough energy for one of the wives? Okay. There's a phenomenon known as the Coolidge effect. Type it on YouTube. Type it on Google. The Coolidge effect is an effect that was noticed amongst chickens, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's named after a US president. Don't quote me on that. That when a cockerel mated with one chicken, he was able to mate on a particular number of times. But when he was exposed to like a harem of women, of chickens, female chickens, he was able to go over and over and over. The same with humans. When you have one woman, there's only so many times you can go with her, as in a single setting or in a single sitting. But when you have multiple women, you can literally go from one to the next, to the next, to the next, and it will be as though it's like fresh. You're refreshed every time. And the only way I can explain this is you've had dinner and you're full up and you've got no space for dinner, but somehow there's always a secret drawer for dessert, right? You can relate to that. That's the only way that I can explain it. So to answer the question, no, actually, a man's virility will increase with new women. He will become more virile. He will demand, require more intimacy. This is why I laugh when I've heard some Muslim guys online be like, yeah, bro, you need to get married again, inshallah. This will help to quench your desires. Wallah, I laugh when I hear this. I know this is somebody who has not experienced polygyny. When I hear someone say this, this is someone who has not experienced polygyny. Because if you've experienced polygyny, you will know the more women you marry, the more that desire grows. It's like throwing gasoline on a fire. Your appetite for women increases, not diminishes or decreases, the more women you add to your team, to your roster, the more wives you add. So don't think getting married again is going to diminish your desire. It's going to increase it. I'm just putting that out there, mate. All right, I'm just letting you know. How to satisfy my woman in bed? You know, subhanAllah, some of these questions, man. I leave these questions up because as much as I might take these for granted, I understand that these are questions that maybe it's actually bothering him. I'm presuming you are married. If you're not, stop worrying about this. Firstly and foremostly, each woman is different. Her anatomy is different. The way she climaxes is different. The geography of certain elements of her body connected to the intimate parts is different. I don't want to get too... This is not an intimacy stream, okay? I'm not going to get too detailed on it. It's different for each woman. But generally speaking, the frame is this. It's a dominant frame. Is I want to pleasure myself with my woman. And if you approach her with that frame, she will gain pleasure from your pleasure. Do you understand that? I am not saying that you should ignore her being able to climax or whatever. No, that should also come with it. You should weave that in there. But the frame that you're approaching her is, man, I just want to devour this woman. I want to devour her. And a woman wants to be desired innately by nature, in her nature. And when you approach her with that frame, she feels desired. As to how to pleasure her, you will have to figure this out with your woman according to her anatomy, to how she responds to different things. All women are different. You'll have to figure it out. As a wife, it was one of my requirements of a husband to have someone who can control his wives. I can't handle a pushover man. He has to give discipline and consequences when needed and show gentleness other times. It's a blessing, alhamdulillah, and saved my marriage. Well, there you go, gents. You heard it from the horse's mouth. Women will push you and test you to see if you will give in to her. Because if you give in to her competency test, she will say to herself, if he's willing to give in to me here when he knows he shouldn't have, what else will he be willing to give in to? What else will he be willing to bend on? Excuse the pun. Referring back to the other brother whose wife has kinks, allegedly. I am really good looking. I'm really good looking at making older women 1 to 4 years older than me chase me. Oh, sorry. I don't know where my brain got looking. I'm really good at making older women 1 to 4 years older than me chase me. I'm a virgin and they are not usually divorced, converts, or bad past. Should I settle with one of them? I'm 22, still studying. I don't do it for fun, but I speak well and know how to speak. Yeah, but you don't know how to write, bruv. Okay. So basically, you attract the toxic bitches. Yeah, I said bitches. I didn't say the full word properly. What do you want me to tell you, bruv? I don't know, bruv. This is not ideal. to say the least, especially as a young man, 22 years old. I'm assuming you've never been married before. This is less than ideal. And you're a virgin as well. And they're not usually converts or bad past. Converts is one thing, but bad past, meaning they have had intimacy in the past and you've never had intimacy, you're a virgin yourself. Yeah, that's a problem. You're going to have an inferiority complex. If you are a man who's never been married before, or you've never been intimate with a woman before, I caution you of marrying a woman who has been married before or been intimate before, because you're going to have an inferiority complex. Is my willy bigger than your ex-husband's? Am I better at it than he was? And all that crap. You're going to have an inferiority complex because you don't have confidence in yourself. It's perfectly normal, by the way, because she has a standard to compare against now. And women do compare. They do. And if you don't have experience and the confidence that comes from that experience, you're going to have a massive inferiority complex. It's going to infect and affect your entire marriage. A girl I'm interested in has close male friends. I feel uncomfortable. La sudo. But I don't know how to bring it up to her and don't want her to leave me. Puddu. Puss, yo. Bruv, you deserve it, bruv. This is what I'm saying. The fear of loss. You don't have what I speak of so often, detachment from the outcome. This is the frame. Woman, a girl I'm interested in. I would like to marry you, firstly and foremost. How does she know that you're even interested in her? Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is, if you'd like to marry me, if you'd like to have the privilege, the opportunity, the chance to marry me, this is how it's gonna be. Are you down? No? No problem. Masalama, goodbye. The reason why you are unable to present yourself in that way is because you said it yourself. I'm scared. I don't know how to bring it up to her because I don't want her to leave me. Bro, she's not even with you in the first place. Yeah, you've gone into a relationship in your head. Yeah, you're not actually in a relationship, firstly. Secondly, because you're scared to leave her, you have no leverage in the negotiation. This goes for any negotiation. He who is willing to commit suicide has the initiative, as you've heard me say so many times. That's a famous quote by Boris Spassky. Robert Greene outlines it in his book 48 Laws of Power, chess grandmaster. He who is willing to commit suicide has the initiative. He who is willing to leave the negotiation, turn away from the negotiation, has more negotiation power by default. It's a paradox. So you have to be willing to accept that she might say to you, I'm not leaving my male friend, sorry. And because of that, she will no longer be interested in you. And that's a win for you because you don't want to be with a woman who wants guy friends in the first place. Think. Either way, it's a win. Either she says to you, yes, you're right, I'll leave my male friends so I can be with you, or for the sake of Allah, first and foremost, and then we get married. W. Or she says to you, no, there's no way I'll leave my guy friends. W. Because now you're not going to get involved with a woman who will have guy friends around. It's a W either way. I'm 29, female, and have a daughter. Where do I find a good man? I feel like no one will marry me. Well, sister, contrary to a lot of popular, what's the word I'm looking for? Rhetoric that was peddled over the past few years on the likes of Kevin Samuels and other podcasts, divorcee women have a ton of options. I can tell you firsthand. All right. I ran a marriage app of my own for nearly a year. You guys know this. And having dealt with the sisters privately en masse, I can tell you the most basic Bushra has blue tick brothers in her DM. Dawah guys. You would be shocked. She's got 29 followers and she's got blue tick Dawah guy in her DM. And she's divorcee with 3 or 4 sisters. You cannot believe it, Yani. So you'll have plenty of options. I don't fear for you in that regard. What I do fear for you is that you will you'll suffer from the paradox of choice. And you will think that you're entitled to something better than what you actually are by virtue of all the options you have around you. So that's what I'll caution you. You're not going to have a lack of choice. Sorry to break it to you guys. These basic bushers, they got too many options, bruv. 23, male, interested in a sister who is slightly taller than me that I used to work with. It's been 2 months since I was last in contact with her. Would it make sense to approach her now? Well, I don't know what the last thing was that you said to her. What did you last say to her? That you're not interested in her? If you never had this conversation before, then you've got nothing to lose. If you've had this conversation and it fizzled out or she stopped talking to you, then don't bring it up again. If you've never brought it up, then shoot your shot. How do I punish my wife? As follows. Restrict attention. Attention is the currency that women value the most. Or like Rollo would say, it's the coin. Attention is the coin of the realm in girl world. Shout out to him. Attention. Restrict your attention. Withhold your attention. Just ignore her for a period of time. Just ignore her for a little bit. It's the best way to make her fall back into line. And when she asks you, why, what's going on? You know why. Oh, no, but you know why. Don't explain yourself. Let her figure it out for herself. Because she does know why. This is the best way to punish her. I'm 22. Rarely I like boys my age, men. But I did, and he ruined it by being extra nice to me when it wasn't needed. Boys, men my age, really, really need to sub your channel. Shout out to the sister, Jazakallah khair. You heard it from the horse's mouth. And the reason why he was being extra nice to you is because, like our previous brother on the previous slide, he was scared to lose you. But look at this, guys. You chase the shadow and you never catch it. You turn your back on the shadow and it has no choice but to follow you. Detachment from the outcome. If you can just deep that this woman, if she has been ordained for you, it's going to happen. You will be able to approach the discussion with her with less neediness. You won't bend and acquiesce and give in and say things that you know you shouldn't have, and bend on things that you know you shouldn't bend on. And that paradoxically makes her more attracted to you. You heard it yourself. Not a confession, but a question. Please answer. How do respectable religious men view a non-hijabi girl? I don't wear revealing clothes, but my hair and outfit are not covered. I know it's really wrong, and I really want a religious husband who will change me in this aspect, but I don't know if I'll attract one if I don't cover. This is such a beautiful, beautiful question, and it's proof of the things that I've mentioned in my reels recently about not writing off. No. I'm not going to say that. I want to know what you guys think in the comments first. To the practicing brothers in the comments right now, what do you think of a sister who dresses modestly? So she says, respectably. I don't know what that means, but she says she dresses modestly. Let's just take her at face value. But she doesn't wear a hijab. Are you wifing it? So to the sister now, I'm gonna show you how the brothers respond first. Okay. Before I do that, let me do this. So I'm gonna pull up your responses in the chat, by the way. Okay. I will put it up. But why can't I pin my own thing anymore? All right, if you want to call in, the link is in the chat right now. All right, now, so how do practicing brothers deal with a sister or think of a sister who doesn't cover? Okay, I'll show you, sister, what the brothers think. Roman03 says, I wouldn't look her way. Fresh DF says, no. KD says, never. Raiden says, she must cover her head too. Siddiqui Kamara says, no, I wouldn't. Hans Peter says, don't have a chance for the first sight. Is that your answer? Do you get your answer, sister? This is how the majority of brothers will look at you. They will write you off. Now, I'm going to speak to you brothers, you gentlemen, and I'm going to tell you the following. If a sister is not wearing hijab, and I have a reel of this on my Right Mahdi method on Instagram, just that's it, MAHDI method. Follow that page and you'll see it there. Okay, I've addressed this issue. If she doesn't wear hijab, she's not a write-off, and I'll tell you why. Women are creatures that are easily led and led astray. It is the reason why a Muslim man can marry a Christian woman or a Jewish woman, but a Muslim woman cannot marry a Christian man or a Jewish man. She has to marry a Muslim. Why? Because she is the one who typically is led by him, who follows him, not vice versa. There are some sisters who don't wear hijab or don't cover appropriately, but they really want to. But she lives, for example, in a household where her parents frown upon it. They're Muslim, but they're secular Muslims. They don't like it. They see it as backwards. Or she is surrounded in a friend group whom none of them wear hijab, and she wants to do better, but she doesn't have the strength to pull her out of it herself. That's the key. She wants to. She wants to. You are not changing her. You are not forcing it upon her. She already wants to. She just wants a strong guiding force, a strong pillar to be able to give her that extra nudge and motivation and confidence to do it. That's it. You're not changing her, big man. So don't tell me I'm not trying to change Nago. You're not. You're actually helping her do what she wanted to do of her own accord anyway. And that's the key. Does she acknowledge that what she's doing is a problem, or not doing for that matter, not covering? Yes, very good. Does she want to do better for herself? Yes, very good. So don't write them off rip, because you will be surprised and you will expand your pool of prospects as well. I found a potential prospect. She interested at first and then ghosted me during the engagement process over DM. Any tips for me? Yeah, bro, she don't like you. She don't rate you like that. You started waffling too much. You were talking too much. She got bored of you. There was another guy in her DM who was more interesting than you. Sorry, bro. Why has that been put up 3 times? How do I maintain interest whilst progressing the relationship forward to meeting parents, etc.? From when should I be exclusive to one girl, and who dictates that? You dictate it, number one, not her. It's on your terms, because you don't ever have to actually be exclusive to her, just her in the first place. You can have up to 4 wives, remember, and you can talk to 4 women at the same time, no problem, or more for that matter. You dictate that. Secondly, how do I maintain interest whilst progressing the relationship? You keep the all right, this is how you do it. I'm just going to give you the blueprint, okay? You've gone into conversation with a sister that you are interested in. You assess for an initial chemistry on DM or whatever. If there's like a little bit of chemistry there, shut the conversation down and get her on a call. It's unlikely she's going to want to do a FaceTime straight away. Girls are quite insecure like that. I hardly know this guy. Why does he want to see my face? All that stuff, okay? Just get on a phone call. Talk for 10 to 15 minutes. See if there's any chemistry there. If there is some chemistry, fantastic. We're not talking about deal breakers. We're just assessing for chemistry. That's it. If there is, very good. Now we want to arrange the meet, the first meet. And the first meet, again, we're just assessing for chemistry. We're not getting into deal breakers. If you've met on a Muslim app, on a Muslim marriage app, then by and large, you're going to have most of what you want is going to be aligned anyway. There will be things that she won't be aligned with you on. I know this, but you don't want to talk about it too soon. She needs to be able to imagine you as her husband first before she is happy to get into deal breakers and agree with you on something that she might not necessarily agree with, but because it's you, she's scared to lose you, then she would do it, or she'd be more open to it. The more you bring to the table as a man, and you have a lot to bring to the table as a man, because women have such a long bucket list of things that they want from us that gives us so many opportunities to bring more to the table, whereas we don't want much from them. There's only a few things we want, which means they don't have many ways that they can impress us and capture our attention in that regard. The things that we do want, obviously we value greatly, and that's where their power is. Regardless, if you get past the first meet, then on the second meet, we go into expectations and deal breakers. What's your expectation? What's my expectation? These are my deal breakers, and so on. Now she'll be more open to this discussion because she already likes you. If you made it past the first meet and she's meeting you again, congratulations. It's because she likes you. Now she's more open to you, whatever laws you want to lay down with her and whatnot. If you get through that, then you get married. Very simple. You're on the third meet. There doesn't even need to be a third meet. You just arrange to get married at the end. Next. Can you advise a man who expects his wife to initiate everything in intimacy? As a woman, that would make me feel masculine because men are supposed to be the initiators and ravish the woman. I agree. Women are turned off by meek men who need the roles to be switched because it makes them seem insecure. Fascinating. There's no need for me to even respond to this or advise anything. Brothers, you have been advised. You've read it for yourself. Some days I hate you, and some days I want to be ravished by you. Today I am hating you for questioning my principles. It is, this is so important for you to pay attention to right now, particularly for someone like myself who is a controversial figure online, and I get a ton of hate. Just go into the comment section of any of my Instagram or TikTok videos if you don't believe me, especially TikTok. Flip me, bruv. And yet, look, do you know why she hates me? Because the way I am behaving, the software that has been installed in her mind is telling her, you should hate this man. This man is a misogynist. That's why she hates me. But do you know why she experiences days where she wants to be, quote unquote, ravished by me? Because her innate natural disposition is telling her, this is the type of man that you want to be with. This is it. And there's this massive conflict between hardware and software. Software and hardware are clashing with each other. That's why she feels like this. That's why, bro, why do you think I speak with so much conviction and confidence, bro? I know what I'm talking about. He wants me to tell him he can F my mother and all of my 3 sisters and all my girlfriends whilst doing it. He's the sweetest and nicest guy who treats everyone with respect. Why? Like, why? Brother, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because once this stuff starts coming out of your mouth, yeah, thoughts become things. There's a brilliant book that is not coming. As a Man Thinketh. Fantastic book. And it was in that book, actually, that I learned the importance of not even entertaining foul thoughts, evil thoughts. Because you think, that's just a thought. Like, who cares? Like, I'll think about this, I'll think about that, whatever. Of not even entertaining the thought. You know why? Because the more you entertain the thought, the more fertilizer and water, sunlight you give to the thought. It grows in your mind until eventually it will start coming out in your speech first. And then after it's come out in speech long enough, it will eventually manifest itself in its body, and you're going to do something very regrettable. Read that book, As a Man Thinketh. The brother I want to marry with asked me how I feel about insulting each other whilst having intercourse. He also asked me if I have fantasies, what shall I do? But these are some weird ass questions, bro, to be asking like before getting married. Why are you asking her, bro? Like, how do you feel about me insulting you during intimacy, bro? Weird, just weird. If there's no spark between me and my spouse in the bedroom, can this be worked on? The first time was bad, made me cry because I didn't feel anything because he didn't do any foreplay and I was too shy to be seductive. He said we don't have sexual compatibility and I think he isn't attracted enough to be patient with me. I'm going to be very careful in how I answer this question because this is now we're dealing with a married couple, newly married couple, it seems. And if I say something, you might take it as gospel, right? And be like, all right, I've got to divorce this man. I've got to leave him. And I will say to you this is that if you're a newly married couple, keep practicing. You'll figure it. Just learn with each other. I can't speak an answer as to whether your husband is unattracted to you or not. I don't know. It's not for me to answer. But keep going. Keep trying. And you should eventually figure it out, just like through enough trial and error. And if you don't, and it starts to become a genuine problem, then come back to me again. For now, keep trying. How do you deal with an educated wife who wants her say in everything? I want to find out from the chat right now. Chat, talk to me. How do you deal with an educated wife who wants her say in everything? Imagine now, okay? I know the majority of you guys are not yet married, but imagine you're married and your wife's a very educated woman and she wants her say in everything. How are you dealing with it? All right. Chef Ray says, tell her shush. Abdurrahman says, ignore. Not too bad. Chef Ray says, I'll decide. Momo After Dark says, if she went to college or lived the party lifestyle or dated guys, she's not a virgin. Okay. Tahir says, tough one, shouldn't marry her in the first place. Well, I mean, he hasn't mentioned how educated he is. He may well be educated himself, you see. And there's nothing wrong with an educated woman in and of itself, by the way. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't want the mothers of our children to be bimbos, right? The issue presents itself when she believes that her education makes her superior in some way and she wants her say in everything. And I would actually I would advise the sister, and I say to your sister, let your man lead, Because one day you'll complain about how he doesn't lead. Do you know why he didn't lead? Because you kept on opening your big fat trap every time he tried to lead and do what a man needs to do. And because he couldn't deal with your noise, he was just like, all right, okay, fine, you make all the decisions. And now you're not attracted to him anymore. He went into his feminine, you went into your masculine. Fall back. I'm not saying you can't have an opinion or offer a different perspective or point of view where you feel it is required or necessary. I have spoken in the past of the power of a woman's perspective, because women see and think differently to men. They just literally see things differently. They are particularly attuned to the details. They have an eye for detail. Even my own daughter, subhanallah, like whenever I wear something new, she's like, oh, she's 2 years old. Oh wow, Baba. I've been wearing this nose strip recently to expand, it's on the thumbnail, to expand the airways in my nose so I can breathe more, because I've got a deviated septum. There, you can see it. And it prevents me from being able to breathe properly at night, especially. I'm like, Baba, what's that on your nose? SubhanAllah, she's a baby, little kid. My son never said anything like that. Do you know what I mean? So they have an eye for detail, and that detail can often be missed as a man. And I appreciate those details that my wives pick out that I may have missed. I appreciate that sometimes. But by and large, fall back. Let the man lead. Yeah, look what the man are saying. Out the door. Ahsan. Shout out to Ahsan. Ahsan's in the Mahdi method. He says, go get a second wife. I said, ice her, bruv. H. Marley says, let the Ukhti speak. Well, I've already given my 2 cents on that. All right, next. Would you agree with an arranged marriage from your parents' choice, or to go for someone you desire from your own will, and why? I don't know if this is a man or a woman asking this question, but I will answer it in both ways, either way. And that is, there is nothing fundamentally wrong with an arranged marriage, by the way. There are actually many benefits to it. Your parents raised you. They know, they don't just have their own life experience, but they know their child. Now, I'm not saying you should force a child into an arranged marriage. That is not what I'm saying. The final say lays with the adult children who are looking to get married. The final say, man or woman, you cannot force them. However, they know their kid, and they don't want to intentionally lumber you with someone who you're not going to like. Do they get it right all the time? No. Can they get it wrong a lot of the time? Absolutely. But an arranged marriage in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing, to the point where entire TV programs are being made out of it. Love is Blind, anyone? Anyone watch that? Or Married at First Sight, anyone? Anyone watch that? These are all programs where people don't meet each other, and they are paired with each other, either based upon quote unquote experts, what experts think, or blind, meaning they don't actually get to see each other. So they talk first, but they don't actually get to see each other visually. But the Married at First Sight is literally, you don't have any communication with this person. Australian program. They do it in the UK as well. You have no communication with this person, and you are paired based upon what the quote unquote experts think would be a good match for you. That's an arranged marriage. Does it always work out? No. Oftentimes it doesn't. Most of the time it doesn't. But it has its merit. So definitely consider it as an option. I wouldn't bet the house on it, but consider it as an option. I've been trying to get married to the sister for time now. My gut tells me she's the one. There is no one, but we'll get to that. I keep seeing delays in this situation, but I feel as if I'm developing and getting more prepared. Is this a concept of, is there a concept of being patient and trust in the process, like in business? Probably not, big man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have a few wives, alhamdulillah. So I've been married a few times, and there are sisters that I've spoken to for the purpose of marriage, and it didn't work out. And I can tell you, for every marriage, every woman that I did marry, it was always smooth, easy, quick. There were no problems. And for every woman that I didn't marry, there were always obstacles and hurdles and problems, one after the other after the other. It was like the writing was being written on the wall, but I couldn't see it. And in one particular instance, when there were obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, and then eventually I managed to arrange a meet with the sister, and I met her in person. I was like, yo, I never want to meet this sister ever again. And this video is on my YouTube channel. I was catfished. You can watch it. Just have a look in the main videos. And I was like, man, I should have paid attention to that writing on the wall, because this sister looks nothing in real life what she looked like on the photos. So I'll be honest with you, bro. If you've made istikhara and you've been trying for a minute and it's just not working out for whatever reason, it's probably not meant to be. Both me and a girl want to get married to each other. How do I afford marriage at my age? Worried it will lead to not giving the best standard of life. So you're 17 and she's 16. So first and foremostly, I have to stay on the right side of the law here. And as someone who is a UK resident living in the UK, the legal age of marriage is now 18 as of March 2022. It used to be 16, it is now 18. You can get married in Scotland at the age of 16 with the parental consent. But in the UK, the legal age of marriage is now 18. I got married at 16 myself. So I'll answer your question. How do you support her? You don't. In my case, my parents supported us for a meaningful period of time until we flew the nest the following year. And then after that, it was the council who supported us, like housing benefit and council, whatever you call it, all that stuff. Because I was a kid, bro. I was in college. Do you understand? So unless you're a savvy businessman or a hustler, or you're able to make them peas, most probably it's going to be other people supporting you until you're able to stand on your own two legs. Brother, I might get married. I hold a basic degree. I'm not financially stable. Is this really a problem? Some of my friends scare me. They say I need to have enough money in my bank account to support myself if things go wrong. Some of them have mocked me since school because I wanted to be a housewife. I thought this was going to be a brother asking this question. This is a sister asking the question. I will repeat again what I said earlier in the stream, which is just because you have bank account and your money today, how do you know it's going to be there tomorrow? How do you know you're going to get whacked with some next expense? I don't know, insurance or whatever. Just could be anything. And then your money's all been wiped out. Now, you're a sister in particular. Sister, you are looking to be taken care of and will be taken care of. Money is less or should be less of a concern to you than it is to a man. Men are more concerned about these things because we are the providers, the one who are giving to you, typically. So with that being the case, why are you concerned about this? And I will offer you another caution. I will caution you further as well, which is the more money you save, the more money you will expect your husband to have, because that's just the way it goes. I'm not saying don't save. I'm not saying don't have your own monies. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's not a priority for marriage because it's your husband who will take care of you, inshallah. I have a porn addiction and I think it's turning me gay. Let's just sit on that for a moment. Chat, talk to me. Talk to me, bruv. Look at this. How many times have I spoken about this online? I even brought my Teski on, did a live stream with them last year on the dangers of porn. And he mentioned this, how porn can make you gay. How, you ask? I'll get to it in a second. You weren't lying, he writes in brackets. Now I hate myself for being so weak and sometimes get self-deletion thoughts because I'm literally sick and tired. Astaghfirullah. All right, the mandam in the comments are laughing, yeah? Let me caution you. Firstly and foremostly, when you see someone suffering from an affliction, don't laugh lest you be afflicted with that affliction. Because when you laugh, you're laughing from a position of superiority, like, this peasant, look at him. I'm better than him. That's what you're saying. I caution you, be careful. This is when you know Allah's going to test you straight away. He's going to test you with that same thing. Be careful. When you see someone suffering like this, say, Alhamdulillah, ladhi afani bima mabtalahu bih. All praise is due to the one who saved me from being tested with what this person is being tested with. Because don't think that you don't have this problem because of you. No, you don't have this problem because of Allah's favor and mercy on you. Don't get it twisted, big man. It's because of Allah's mercy upon you. That's the first thing. The second thing is, how does it make you gay? I'll tell you. When you get used to seeing a man be intimate with a woman, you're not just watching the woman, you're watching another man's member. You're watching his private part going in and out of her and doing whatever with her for that matter. And now your arousal is not just linked to her, but it's linked to him doing stuff to her. And this is how eventually you can start to develop homosexual thoughts and feelings, and God forbid you might even end up just watching straight homo stuff afterwards, or even becoming a homo. And yes, I say God forbid, because it is forbidden in not just the Quran, but the Bible and the Torah as well. I caution you, chat. Say Alhamdulillah. Yes, big man, Ismail. All right, astaghfirullah. Shouldn't have said that. Good. Shout out to you. Ibrahim, may Allah help him. Ameen, Ya Rab. Yep, Tahir. Tahir hit the nail on the head, because you're watching naked men. You're not just watching naked women. You're watching naked men, bruv. Sister here, how important is physical attraction? You said we shouldn't be too picky, so if he ticks the other boxes, deen, ambition, masculine, should we just go for it? It is very important that there is like a base level of physical attraction between you and him. You need to be physically attracted to him. I'm not saying he needs to look like Brad Pitt. I'm just saying you need to be attracted to him as he needs to be attracted to you. If you are not physically attracted to him in the slightest, don't marry him. I don't care if his deen is good and his ambition is good and he works hard and blah, 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 because you're going to have big problems in the marriage afterwards. There needs to be some physical spark, physical chemistry. Like you can see him and you can be like, you know what? I don't have to close my eyes when I'm intimate with him. Yeah, that's a disaster. Do you need any preconditioning before you ask a woman specifically to be a second if she's interested, or do you just do it outright? Just do it outright, bruv. Don't waste time. Just do it outright. And I don't know what you mean by preconditioning anyway, but don't waste time, especially if you're already married. And the irony is, by the way, when you're married, it's actually easier to get married again when you're already married. You'd think it's not, but it is. Just as when you already have money, it's easier to make more money. You know the old saying, money makes money. It's true. You don't have to have money to make money, but there is truth in that statement. When you're married, it makes it easier to marry again because you are a proven commodity. One woman has already chosen you. Well, you can't be that bad. You must be all right. All right. Let's pull up this super real quick. Shout out to Somali Pirate. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. If you get married whilst you're broke and then become rich, won't she always believe she had something to do with your success and carry herself that way? Bro, you're overthinking it now. It's not that deep. But the truth of the matter is, if she was with you whilst you were broke, then she did have something to do with your success. And that is, she backed you. She had your back. And I'm not saying she was the one responsible for it or she contributed in a physical way. But if she supported you, if she believed in you, what did Prophet say about Khadija? She believed in me. When everyone else rejected him, she believed in me. Yes, she has something to do with it in that regard. Now, the problem arises when she wants to take full credit. If it wasn't because of me, you'd be a nothing. This is garbage, obviously. But to say that she has nothing to do with it is the other extreme as well. If she was with you whilst you were broke and she was supportive and she believed in you and she was that positive motivational influence and inspiration and all of that, then yeah, no problem. She definitely has something to do with it. And there's no shame in that. And yeah, as the brother here says, risk ultimately, risk is from Allah, not from yourself or from her. Yes, but you have to put in the action. Allah expects you to put in the action, and the two are not mutually exclusive. One, the risk is from Allah. Two, you still have to put in the action. If you took all the money away from all the richest people in the world today and distributed it amongst all the poor, eventually it would all end up back in the hands of the rich. Why? Because they know how to make money. It's just the way it goes. It's not just like randomly being allocated here. That no, you need to do the action. Do the action. And then after that, the rest is in Allah's hands. The two are not mutually exclusive. "24, male. I live in Pakistan. I'm engaged to a sister, but my parents aren't willing to get me married. They're saying to wait for 2 to 3 years for stupid reasons. You know how desi people are. I don't know what the reasons are, but perhaps you'll tell me. Let's see. I can't do the nikah since the girl's wali will deem it ill due to absence of my parents. I feel trapped. Desi culture is curse." Well, this is outside of my my wheelhouse, to be honest with you. I don't really know what to add to that other than to caution the parents, which is you are forcing your children into zina. You are pushing them over the edge, over the precipice, into the precipice of what? Zina. Be careful. For those of you who are backstage, by the way, I'm prioritizing cams on, not cams off. 28-year-old medical student here. I found someone. We chatted for 3 weeks and I felt I was giving her too much attention, so I stopped reaching out. Haven't spoken to her ever since. I'm getting thoughts that she isn't interested in me. What do? Reach out. I did do this once, but she reached out after 2 days. Big man, she's not interested in you. You just answered your own question. I know you don't want to hear this, bro, but she's not interested in you. She's talking to a whole nother brother, and it ain't you. I'm sorry to break it to you, bruv. First of all, you've identified it here. You gave her too much attention. So then you stopped. She didn't then go out of her way to message you or reciprocate that attention. Why? Because she's not interested. She was bored of you. That's the first thing. Then you are getting thoughts that she's not interested. So you messaged her again. And she reached back. She got back in contact with you 2 days later. But don't think she didn't see the message. She saw the message and she opened her phone. Yeah, she opened her phone. She saw your message. She looked at it and she was like, "Is that brother messaging me again? Can't be asked." And she put it back down and she carried on with her day. Or she carried on talking to another brother. Or she carried on watching her program. Pick whichever narrative you feel is least painful for you. She's not interested. Keep it moving. The president of this channel, all right, calm down, says, thank you for the $20 super chat. What do you recommend virgin brothers to do if they are marrying a non-virgin woman who does not want them to marry a second wife? Whoa. Throwing too many curveballs my way, big man. All right, let's deal with one thing at a time. Deal with your problems one at a time, ya bin ammi. First of all, the first problem you have is that I've just mentioned this earlier in the stream, all right, but I'll answer it again because you paid money. And that is, you don't have intimate experience. She does. You are constantly going to have the weight of inferiority in your mind, comparing yourself to her past. Am I bigger than him? Am I better than him? Are you satisfied with me? Do you think about him? Because you don't have experience. It's just the way it goes. Like you're gonna have an inferiority complex. So I don't actually recommend this in the first place to virgin brothers. If you want to do it, do it. You don't want to listen to me, fine, but I don't recommend this in the first place. Now let's deal with the second part of this question, which is she doesn't want you to marry a second wife. Well, if you want to marry her that badly, you're going to have to agree to her conditions, because he who is willing to commit suicide has the initiative. I would imagine that if you say no, you will marry a second wife, she is prepared to walk away from you right now. That means she has the initiative, but you can steal that initiative back. How? By telling her and genuinely believing at the exact same time, no, one day I do want to marry again. And if you're not down with that, that's cool, but we just can't get married. That's how you take back the initiative. That's how you put the power back in your hands. Here's the thing though. She might actually say, okay, fine, brother, it's not for me. In which case, she didn't deem you worthy enough of sharing you in the first place. She didn't rate you like that, because trust and believe, every single woman on the planet, bring me the most anti-man sharing woman you can possibly find. She will share a man if she deems him worthy enough. Bring her Habib Nurmagomedov or some Mufti Menk or whatever, like a big Muslim superstar. She'll share him. She just won't share you. Do you see the difference? Which means she doesn't even rate you like that in the first place, which means it's a W for you anyway. See, she wasn't that into you. Don't be scared, brothers. Don't be scared when you're dealing with the sisters. Don't be scared to lose her. It's okay. Like, if you lose her, you just got your answer that she just wasn't that into you in the first place. And that's all right. It's not that deep. Find another sister who will be that into you. It's okay. If you're young, by the way, you're not yet the finished product. You still got growth. Don't think how I am now is how I always was. I've had to grow as well. So maybe you're like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And she's like, no. I can't see you, me being with you and you having other women. I can't see that happening. But 10 years time now, that version of you, he'll be different. You've grown and women would be happy and willing to share you. So don't think it's a life sentence. She doesn't rate me. No women rate me. Don't worry. You just got growth to do. It's fine. Like, it's a beautiful thing as a man. There are so many different things we can work on as a man to improve our marriage market value. It's like you can get creative with it. Because women expect so much from us. which means we have so many opportunities to over-index on so many different things. My husband is very kinky and wants to try a lot of things, but I'm not at all into this and I'm very boring for him. What to do? Get him a second wife. Now you'll be all into the kinks, won't you? So there's this brother that I've seen around and he knows about me. He hasn't asked my wali about me. Should I still send my wali to him about my interest in becoming his other wife? You know what? Chap, I want to know your opinion. What's your opinion? The sister is asking, there's a brother that she's seen around and he knows about her. He hasn't asked her wali. Should she still send her wali to tell him about her interest in becoming his other wife? Bruv, it's not even a first wife thing. It's a second wife thing. Shout out to the brother. What do you think? Should she just stay silent and hope for the best? Or should she tie her camel and take action? Talk to me, chat. Marwan Busbey says, go for it. ABF says, yes. Jeffrey says, why not? Daddy Morpheus, you man with your names, bro. If she does, he'll know she is serious. No, that's a very good point. If you do it that way, sister, he will know that you're actually serious because you sent your wali. You didn't even come yourself. This is very respectable and dignified. And I'll tell you what, he'll feel extremely like, wow, like this is like a major compliment. What have you got to lose? Worst case scenario, he'll say no. And you'll be at right where you're at right now. Oh, your ego will be bruised. Boo-hoo. Best case scenario, he'll say yes. And if you're offering yourself as a second wife to him, the odds are that he will say yes, frankly speaking. All right, some of you man now with with your highly inappropriate comments are still funny, but I can't bring them up. Oh, this shouldn't have been added. Editor, Mr. Editor, I didn't want this one in there. Next. Dude, what was your age on your first marriage and are you able and capable to provide for your wife at that time? Oh, man, how many times I got to go through my story? Sorry to bore you guys. 90% of you already know. Got married at 16. Obviously, I wasn't able to provide for Jack Diddley. All right. No, I didn't provide for nothing. My parents took care of us, alhamdulillah. Do you guys think tall girls are unattractive? No, listen, yeah. Me personally, I like my short things. I've never been with a tall woman though, so I don't know what I don't know, you know. But generally speaking, I'm attracted to shorter women. However, I know plenty of brothers who are attracted to tall women. Let's pull this up real quick. Lost 80 kg. Wow, shout out to you, man. Bare loose skin removed before marriage, bro. I don't know, bro. Are you able to do it? Go for it, but shout out to you. 80 kg, man lost a whole human out here. That's enormous. MashaAllah. I'm 25 years old, 173 centimeters, but I look like an 18-year-old because I have no beard, which is not attractive and gives girls the ick since I look younger than them. I'm disciplined and successful. I can tell you that you're not giving them the ick because of your beard or lack of beard. All right, plenty of mandem in the world who've got baby faces and no beards and are still extremely successful with women. It's your attitude towards this. Do you harbor an inferiority complex of sorts because of it, especially because you're saying you're successful in what you do professionally as well? The problem is not the lack of beard. The problem is your inferiority complex towards it. And as a result of that, or your baby face for that matter, and as a result of that, they pick up on your insecurities. Like women are like radar detectors, bro. It's like walking through a metal detector. They pick up on the slightest weakness, bro. The slightest weakness. And that's why you cannot conduct yourself with any form of inferiority around them whatsoever, even if you do have an inferiority complex of sorts, and we've all got things that we're feeling shy about, that we feel slightly even inferior about. Everyone's got their little thing. The key, the magic is to not let on. Don't let on. Because if you can't do anything about it, why be bothered by it in the first place? Do you think it's realistic to start from zero with a woman in this generation? I'm a striving semi-pro basketball player. Well, Pick your poison, big man. Either you start from zero with her, or if you make it to the big leagues and become a professional basketball player, you'll have rows of women lining up to be with you, but you will be haunted and plagued by the, are they with me just for my money or not? Pick your poison. Is it realistic? Yes, absolutely. There are plenty of sisters. I'm okay, not 0-0, but so long as you are hardworking, you're earning something. You're showing that you're, I'm talking by and large. Don't look at my unique situation of getting married at 16. Forget that. By and large, most men don't get married at 16, okay? So you're putting in the effort. You're trying your hardest. You're doing your bit. You're working hard. You're clearly like you're a hardworking man, and you're ambitious, and you're disciplined, and you're in shape, and you're on your D and all of that. You will be fine. I spend most of my time working, reading, and working out. I rarely had clashes with anybody, even in my childhood. The problem is, how do I control the adrenaline rush before having arguments, fights? I begin shaking immediately, even if I'm not afraid. I think you just need to get into a fight club, bro, and you'll be fine. I've got my wife to accept the possibility of a second wife, but how do I find them? Obviously, I ain't got a polygynist brand like yourself to attract women without needing to search myself. So where do I go? This is a mistake that a lot of people make. They think that I've got my wives from social media. I haven't. I married one woman, just one sister who came across me from social media. The rest of them are offline, and they knew about me long before social media, long before I blew up on social media. So how to go about finding them? Well, bro, you're asking me for how does anyone find them? All right. If you're already married and your wife is accepted, okay, top tip, get your wife to find her. This literally shooting fish in a barrel. If your wife is on board, marry one of her friends. It's like the easiest second marriage that you could possibly pull off ever, because your wife is going to do the convincing. She's going to do all the selling. Why do you think pimps have bottom bitches? Because the bottom bitch can communicate, can keep women in check, because she can speak their language, womanese. When other women see that this woman is on board with this pimp, they look at her and think, well, clearly he must be a good guy then, because she's on board. I hate to use the analogy, but that's why pimps have bottom bitches. In this instance, you have a wife. You ask your wife, do you have any friends who want to get married that we can help, or could you on my behalf? You're saying she's on board. So khalas. If that's not an option, then just basic things. Either it's apps, or it's in your local community, or your friends know someone. Like it's basics, common sense stuff. There's no magic involved here. She wants to marry me, but she says she'd have to leave her family for me because they still wouldn't accept me. So she says she has to decide. We're both Muslim. That's not ideal. And this is going to create a huge emotional burden on you if you do get married. That is, the loss of her family is going to come down on you. You will have to compensate for that loss. I'm super hungry right now, man. I haven't eaten in nearly 24 hours. I'm trying to do this fasting thing, innit? 3 days? I'm not sure, bro. We're going to eat after this. So that's going to come down on you. And it's not ideal at all. Even if you have a shari'i, legitimate, religious reason to still marry her, it's not ideal. So do your best to make it work with the family. If you can't, and you have involved the religious authorities, the respective religious authorities, and they give you the green light anyway, fine. But just know what you're signing yourself up for. You're signing yourself up for her using you as an emotional crutch because she's lost her entire family. It's not ideal. Okay. I'm the eldest brother in my family with many teenage sisters. I have a problem controlling their public dressing, makeup. My dad has no clue. They don't care. And my mum is defending them. This makes me question my masculinity and makes me worried about them infecting my future wife. North African here. Bro, adin and nasiha. If they're teenagers, you can only advise them. Yeah, you can only advise them from a distance. And if they don't, especially when your mom and dad are not even on side as well, if they don't fall into line, just withdraw your favors from them. Show them that you are displeased with them by withdrawing your attention, withdrawing the time that you spend with them. I don't know how close you are with your sisters, or not close for that matter, but there's only so much you can do. I know you really want to take the horse to the water and force it to drink, but you can't. You can only take it there. So advise from a distance. If they conform, fantastic. If they don't, withdraw your attention. Like myself personally, yeah. Any women that I'm with, and family for that matter, you have to be wearing minimum hijab and like abaya of some sort to be seen out with me. That's a minimum criteria. If you're not wearing hijab and abaya type clothing, you can't be seen with me. It's okay. You don't have to wear it. I'm not going to force you, but you can't be seen with me. Me? Are you mad? That's the type of like, it's the self-respect you have for yourself. It's like, I will not walk with a woman who's going to bring shame upon me. Nah, I don't care if you don't wear hijab normally. If you want to be seen with me, you will cover appropriately. And if you don't want to, that's fine. Don't be seen with me. Don't walk with me. Do you see how you're positioning yourself here? That's the only advice I can offer you. I have a friend whose husband loves going out with his friends. If he wants to go out, he will hit up everyone to see who's available, and then they'll go out together. It's like he prefers hanging out with the boys over her. This New Year's Eve, he spent it out with friends again and not with her. Well, who cares, New Year's Eve or whatever? I'll be honest with you guys, yeah, I do find it a bit weird when I hear brothers spending so much time with other brothers, like free downtime. I spend time with men when we're trying to solve problems, like we're problem solving. I do not understand guys who enjoy spending their downtime, leisure time, more with guys than they do with girls. That one's weird to me. I much prefer spending my downtime with women than I do with men because it's just relaxing and recharging. Like women have this like healing energy. They have this healing energy. Men don't have that, bruv. That's why I spend time with men when we're trying to solve for problems. But to answer the question, sister, it's probably because he doesn't like her that much. And she's not that nice to be around. She's not that pleasant to be around. That's the honest truth. She's just not that pleasant to be around. Maybe she's needy, she's naggy, and he finds he has a better time with his mates than he does with her. Remember, human beings do, by and large, for the most part, exactly what they want to do. And if he's not spending time with her like that, it's because he doesn't want to spend time with her like that. She needs to ask herself why. She may well have a hand in that. The end. All right, that comes towards the end of that. All right, I'm going to bring on a couple of you guys, inshallah. Tamam. Well, I got two of you backstage, but only one of you with the cams on. So, man like Bilal up to the stage first. Shout out to Bilal. What are you saying, bro?
Assalamu alaikum Mahdi Tijani. How are you, my friend? How are you, my brother?
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What are you saying, Bilal?
You know, Mahdi,
Yeah.
I've decided that now in 2024, I'm going to inshallah become a real practicing Muslim. I want to become
MashaAllah.
I want to become, because let me tell you something, is that don't get me wrong, like I was born Muslim. My name is Bilal. I am I am Muslim by name, but I feel like to be honest, my family are not really practicing. And I'm finding difficulty.
Hold on. Don't throw your family under the bus, but go on, carry on.
Yeah,
Because they might see this.
because I'll give you an example. It's like I'm trying to I'm praying my salah now. I'm praying Fajr, but I'm
MashaAllah.
kind of I'm kind of because my mom, she prays all her salah before nighttime. So she prays all 5 salah at once.
Yeah, that's a
And my
problem.
mom is telling me, and my mom is like, it's not practical, and then my dad actually tells me, Fajr is sunnah. So,
Huh?
it's a little bit,
Astaghfirullah.
I want, so it's like, I want to become practicing, like real practicing, but I'm not just going to blame it's not just, I'm not blaming
What's
anyone.
your
I
question,
don't
Bilal?
understand.
Bilal, let's cut the waffle.
Yeah.
What's your question?
My question is, what is some practical? Do you have some practical advice on how I can be a practicing Muslim with the the fitna and the world, the distractions? How to really submit to Allah Azza wa Jal and become one with Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Because I
Beautiful,
want to
bro. I
give my
like that.
life to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, inshallah. I signed up for Quran classes next week. I'm going to start doing
MashaAllah.
Quran classes, Wallah, I want to submit completely and put my faith in Allah and my trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I'm struggling to let go of the dunya. And for
I'll answer your
example, the
question.
work.
Let me
Yeah,
answer your
okay.
question. All right.
Okay, yeah.
So how to make it easier on yourself? First thing and
Yeah.
foremostly, surround yourself with good company. Surround
Yeah.
yourself with the type of
Yeah.
men that you want to be like. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
when you do, just as Prophet ﷺ said that a man is upon the
Yeah.
religion of his friend. When you
Yeah.
surround yourself with people who are where you want to be, it's an
Yeah.
inevitability that you'll end up there yourself one day as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I saw because my cousin from Spain. He went to a lecture with the Mufti Menk, and he sent me the link, and I signed up to go to Laylatul Qadr in Ramadan. I'm going to go to watch Mufti Menk live in London, and
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it, and I want to go to Hajj one day. I want to go to Hajj, inshallah.
All right, bro. Listen. Slow down. So I'm gonna leave you with
Yeah,
this, okay? And that
yeah,
is that prayer. Allah says in the Quran, "Inna salata kanat al mu'minina kitaban mawquta." Verily, the salah has been prescribed
yeah,
upon the believers at set times. So when your mom says that you can pray them all at once, say to her mom that there's this
yeah,
verse in the Quran. Just check this out, okay?
yeah.
That's first. Second thing, surround yourself with good company, the type of men that you want to be like, and you'll be on your merry way. All right, big man.
Inshallah ta'ala. Thank you, Mahdi. Thank you, Mahdi.
Yalla habibi, take care. I'm proud of you, bro. Keep it up.
Take care,
Take
bro.
care.
Take care. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. The link is in the chat if you want to join the stream, by the way, guys. Tech Pro, assalamu alaikum.
Hello, how are you?
No, my days. That was loud. Hello, what's your name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer, what are you saying, Jennifer?
Sorry.
Hold on. Which part of the world are you calling from?
USA.
USA. Okay, Jennifer. What can I do for you?
Sorry if it was loud. I don't know. I don't have a proper mic here.
That's fine.
Is it loud for you now?
It's okay. It's okay. I've adjusted the volume. Hit me.
Okay, so I have two questions. We'll start with the first one, which I saw in the chat. Someone was saying to do nikah only and no government marriage. And then someone said, well, if your spouse is coming from a different country, you can't do that. In order for them to get citizenship, then legal marriage has to be proved.
This is true.
Okay, so that's settled. And then secondly, I saw a documentary from the UK, and it was showing Muslims were in this documentary. They were talking about their situation. And they were saying that not all of them, just the ones who are doing plural marriage, polygyny, they were saying, what we do is we'll marry one wife legally and take a second, third, or fourth without doing the government marriage.
Obviously, because that would be bigamy and that would be illegal.
Right. But because those 3 wives or 2, however many, are not legally married, they can present as single parents to the government and reap government dole or welfare, as we call it in the US.
Right.
And they made it out like this was like.
I remember this document. Was it a Channel 4 documentary? I remember this.
I can't remember. I saw it on YouTube like a year ago.
Yeah.
So, is this going on? They made it seem like this is like a common thing going on over there.
I don't know, to be honest with you, but typically, usually if a man has multiple wives, he's usually the second, third, or fourth wife is a woman who has been married before and has children from a previous marriage, and she has already got her own thing going on. She's typically being supported by the state, and she's got her own thing going on, and he just comes and sees her once or twice a week or whatever. And it's actually a practical solution, and I'll tell you why. We live in a capitalist society, a capitalist environment, and that capitalist environment, as we have seen in the past few years in particular, is prone to substantial inflationary measures. If you've seen the price, as you've seen probably in the US as well, the cost of rent, the cost of living, the cost of bloody breathing, everything's gone through the roof. And if we were to impose that this man has to take care financially of all four of these women whilst living in the West, what we would have is a whole bunch of women who'd never get married. Because back in the day, and in fact, in some parts of the world right now, third world for that matter, you will find a man, he has not just 4 wives, more than 4 wives. And he's not a rich man. How? Cost of living. His wives all live in a mud hut, for example. Yeah, not to point out any particular countries, but you can just imagine they live in a mud hut and they fetch water from the lake in the morning, and he hunts in the afternoon, and they all eat together around a fire in the evening. You don't need much money to support a few wives on when you're living that type of lifestyle. So it's actually a practical solution. Is it ideal? No, it presents its own challenges as well. But if we were to impose upon these men that you must provide for exclusively, if you want to marry again, we'd have a whole bunch of women who'd never be married. And that's why I say polygyny is for the women. It's not for the guys. Yeah, the guys benefit, don't get it twisted. But it's actually for them, because they would never get married otherwise.
So you're saying that there's more women statistically than men who are...
No, what I'm saying is that, so remember what I said at the beginning. Typically, second, third, fourth wives are women who have been married before. It's very unusual for a virgin woman to be a second, third, or fourth wife.
Yeah.
And typically, she's bringing her own kids as well, which means typically she already has her own living arrangements. She has her own situation taken care of. Now she just wants a husband. Now, he may well contribute to her monthly cost of living as well, on top of what she's already receiving. What I'm saying is he won't, in most instances, take on everything. He will be contributing, topping her up, but he won't be like the sole provider, because she's already got her own thing going on. She's being provided for by the state.
Okay, so what about a divorced woman with kids? Is there not enough like older divorced men to go around for them? Or
no, there isn't.
No.
And furthermore, the divorcee sisters tend to be more picky than the sisters who'd never been married before. Why? One of two reasons. She has a particular standard in her mind based upon what she was married to before, or she had a bad experience of marriage for whatever reason, and now her standards have increased, despite the fact that her sexual market value has decreased by virtue of her having had children, and she's older, and her situation is not as ideal as a younger sister and whatnot. So those women are actually looking for a specific caliber of men, and polygyny enables them to have access to a caliber of men that they would not typically have had access to in the first place, should they have been hell-bent upon monogamy.
Okay, do you think... I'm not British myself, so I'm just going by this documentary. But do you think that the British government should say that, like, if you're going to marry this person religiously and not, government-wise, you should provide for them so that they don't, suck the dole out of the British economy? Like, I hear that there's like so many people living off the dole in the UK, and
let me address the dole quick. Let me address the dole point. Yeah, listen, this is to all of you who are on the dole right now. If you are on the dole right now, hold your hand high in the air, loud and proud if you are, and I'll tell you why. Okay, because I'm reminded of a verse in the Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah where Allah says, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُصْلِحُونَ أَلَا إِنَّهُمْ هُمُ الْمُفْسِدُونَ وَلَكِنْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. And then you'll think, what is he talking about? Wait, be patient, I'm coming. Allah says, and when they are told, don't create mischief in the earth, they say, oh, but we're reformers. And then Allah says, Nay, but they are the ones who are causing mischief on the earth, and they don't even perceive it. You know, when the Fed in America and when the Bank of England in the UK printed their $7 trillion in the US and their 350 billion pounds in the UK respectively, do you know what they did? Do you know what they did? They gave peasants a little bit of money for a period of time, like 500 quid or whatever, across however many, 60 million in the UK and 400 million in the US. But then what they did was devalue the worth of money. And because people don't understand money, because we're not taught about money in school, you don't know how money works. So let's have a money lesson. This is the way money works. The more of it you have in circulation, the less buying power you have by default. That's why after the Fed started printing money and after the Bank of England started printing money, shit went up. Everything went up. Secondhand cars went through the roof. Food went through the roof. Like just everything went through the roof. Why? Because now there's more paper in circulation, which means it's worth less. Just like anything, the more of it there is, the less valuable it becomes. Who does this hurt, Jennifer? This hurts the everyday man. This hurts the everyday man and woman who are not business savvy, who don't know how money works and are being now punished for measures that they didn't sign themselves up for. They didn't ask for the printing press to devalue their savings, to devalue the buying power of their money. So I say, if you're on the dole, finesse that thing all the way to the top, because they don't mind finessing you with the hidden tax. What's the hidden tax? The hidden tax, people don't know. In fact, before I answer, chat, what's the hidden tax? If you pull it up in the chat, I'll pull your name up right now. Bear with me, Jennifer. Who knows what the hidden tax is? I want to see now how financially savvy the audience are. What is the hidden tax? Talk to me, chat. Boom. Jordan's got it. Inflation is the hidden tax. So they tax you from the top, they tax you from the middle, and then they tax you from your balls afterwards as well in a way that you don't see it. How? Print more money, devalue the buying power of your money, and now you've lost money. You've still got £1,000 in the bank. The numbers haven't changed, but your buying power has changed. And this is how they get. So finesse them all the way to the top, big man. I have no sympathy for capitalist societies, none whatsoever. Zero.
Okay, well, hold on a minute. It would be the hardworking middle class who are paying the taxes for these dole squatters.
So
right?
I will first of all, the middle class is being wiped out. Okay, very soon we will not have a middle class
from paying taxes for the dole.
But I will agree with you. I agree with you here that the policies of the rich hurt not the poor, as in the dole claimers, but the middle class. And here you have my sympathies completely. You are absolutely right. But your beef should not be with the poor. Your beef should be with the policy makers at the top, because they are the ones who have created this monstrosity in the first place. And I understand exactly what you're talking about. The poverty trap is the middle class. It's where you earn just enough to not be entitled to any type of benefit, but not enough to actually live a quality way of life. And you're constantly like scrimping and scraping. I am with you here, sister. Okay, but your beef should not be with the poor. It should be with the rich policymakers.
My beef is not with poor people who are actually struggling. That's not my beef. In fact, I probably qualify as that. What my beef is, if someone's genuinely poor, why on earth would they take more than one spouse and bring more kids to live in poverty, to live off the dole? That's just wrong. It's immoral.
Well, these are multiple these are multiple discussion points. Okay, so you mentioned if they bring new children into the world. Okay, that's another discussion point, and we can get to that as well. But let's just say, why would he marry again before we get to the children discussion point? Because you brought up multiple discussion points, and I'll go back to what I said to you before, which is polygyny is for those women. It's not for that guy. It benefits that woman more than it benefits that guy, because she's the one who doesn't have a husband in the first instance, is not open to marrying the everyday man, because now she has a standard in her head and is able to access a different caliber of men that she would not necessarily have had access to. So to answer your question, you should be directing this question to those sisters who voluntarily, no one puts a gun to their head, sign themselves up to those type of marriages. They are the ones you need to have that conversation with, because they are the ones who are of their own accord marrying these men. So I would ask you a question. What would you say to these women who are voluntarily signing themselves up to marry men in this type of situation? What would you say?
I would say I would also ask them why they're doing this, because it's not moral. Like, for example, and from this documentary, I'm only going off of this documentary. I'm not a British citizen. I don't know what's going on there. But in this documentary, it's not like these men were high caliber. They were, I mean, these men were like, these were exactly the type of men who would marry multiple women and not provide for them and allow those women to live off the dole. So that's the caliber of men. It's pretty
So
low.
what does it say
Very
about
low.
those, what does it say about these women who are accepting this situation?
That the government should stop this and kick these people out? I don't know. I think the whole thing is
So
immoral.
are you saying that these women are so incompetent that their right of freedom of choice should be taken away from them? Is that what you're saying?
I think the women and the men they're involved with should have their these choices taken away from them. I think the government should come down and
let me get clear on something.
Because obviously the
Hold
masjids
on.
are not teaching that this
Hold
is
on,
immoral.
hold on. I need to get clear on this. Are you saying, sister, that these sisters who are voluntarily off their own accord, no one's forcing them, you literally cannot force a woman to marry you or be intimate with you? That would be rape. All right. You cannot force her. So are you saying that these women are so incompetent, shall we even call it stupid, that their right to choose who they want to marry should be taken away from them? Is that what you're saying?
These men and women both should have that choice taken away by the government, should come down and come down hard, because the masjids aren't stopping it.
So their right
It's
to
a
choose who they want
cultural
to marry.
thing.
Hold on. So their right to choose who they want to marry should be taken away from them. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. I have a bit of a dictator vibe in me. Okay. Absolutely. I think that this should be illegal.
Illegal. Let me ask you another question, a follow-up question. Why does it rub you up the wrong way? Why does it irk you that these women are voluntarily choosing to marry these type of men? Why does it bother you? How does it affect you? What's your story?
It's also going on here, but there's been no documentary on it, but I've seen cases go on here too, but it's not to the same extent. So
but I'm asking you, what's your experience with it? What's your story?
Oh, I don't have an experience with it at all.
But it sounds like it rubs you up the wrong way. Why does it rub you up the wrong way?
It's highly unethical, and the masjids are not doing anything about it.
I'm assuming you're married. You sound like you're married.
Yes.
How long have you been married for, sister?
10 years.
Okay, I thought as much. You are speaking from, how many children do you have, if you don't mind me asking?
2.
2. You are speaking from a privileged position. I'm assuming by and large you're happy in your marriage. You're happy with your husband and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm privileged in that way, but we are, financially.
I get it. A lot of people are struggling financially right now, especially after the printing press decided to go on a mad one. But here's the situation, sister, is that you are speaking from a position of privilege. What is the privilege? It's not financial privilege. You are speaking from a position of marital privilege. You are married. You don't know what it feels like to be a woman who's in her mid to late 20s or 30s or even 40s with 2, 3, or 4 children and wants to get married and recognizes that most single men don't want anything to do with her. You don't know what that experience feels like. And you don't know what it feels like to have to accept that the only type of brother who's going to most likely be interested in marrying me is a brother who's already married himself with his own kids. And you don't know what it feels like to then have to find a brother who, because let me tell you something, sister, a man who is financially capable of taking on multiple women. All right, let me ask you this question. If a man is financially capable of taking on multiple women, why would he take on a single mom with kids? Not only is it's not even the same, it's actually cheaper to get a virgin. So now he gets what he actually wanted, which is the woman that wasn't married, hasn't got any prior intimate experience, or at least doesn't have any kids with her. Okay, single woman, and it's cheaper. Like, why would a guy who is financially capable of doing it do it? Because he's got better options to pursue and choose from, is the answer. So now I put the ball back in your court and I say to you, with this in mind, that the eligible men who are able to financially provide are not actually that interested because they've got better options available to them. What do we do for these women? What's the solution?
Celibacy for everybody.
Allahu Akbar. Says the woman who has a husband to be intimate with.
Yeah, but listen.
The woman, hold on. The woman who has a husband to be intimate with has proclaimed forthrightly and self-righteously that celibacy, that is abstinence from sexual intercourse, for those who don't understand, is the solution for these women. MashaAllah, sister.
Listen, I was completely celibate. You would not believe how old I was when I got married and how many years I spent in celibacy. No one can believe it. So yeah, it can be difficult, but it's called discipline.
Sister, what was that a nice situation?
Was it nice? It took spiritual discipline, but I was able to do it. I mean,
why did it require discipline?
Not like water.
Anything that requires discipline it's hard by default. If it requires discipline, it's because it's hard. And this doesn't require explaining.
Right, but life isn't easy. We have to discipline ourselves financially. We have to discipline ourselves.
Why didn't you continue to discipline yourself? Why did you get married? Why didn't you altruistically experience the struggle of these women by never marrying and joining them in their celibate struggle?
Well, I was ready to stay celibate my whole life until I met my husband, and then we fell in love and got married.
Yeah, that's how it goes for everyone, sister. I'll tell you why this rubs you up the wrong way. I'll tell you exactly why. Because you are scared that your husband, who right now is not financially capable of taking on another wife, if he gets wind of this practice, that he will take on another wife in this way. That's why you don't like this. It's nothing to do with anything else, the government or whatever.
No, first of all, my husband is ethical. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't try to cheat the government.
That's not the point. The point is that if we can shut this down, your husband will never have the opportunity to do it anyway. These women represent a threat to your marriage, and that's how you see it.
We're not in the UK. The UK is a simp for this type of thing. There's some guy on here called me a collectivist liberal. It's when was
the last time you were in the UK?
Liberals that this is allowed to go on. The government is simping. The government is simping.
Sister, I've muted you. I will not allow you to overtalk me. And I will unmute you in a second. And I have a question for you. And that is, how do you know this is going on in the UK? Your mic's unmuted.
The documentary. I told you from the documentary.
MashaAllah. The documentary. Allahu Akbar. You know how many documentaries I've seen about the US? About what a terrible place it is, and you know how bad the people are. You know, if you were to take, hold on. So let's just get this straight. You've never been to the UK, but the UK to you is a simp society.
I have been to the UK. I said I wasn't a citizen, but I was there before.
How long were you here for?
I've been to the UK about 5 times, and each time I was there maybe 3 months.
Allahu Akbar. How old are you, sister?
I am 45.
So you've spent less than 1% of your life in the UK, yet you claim to be an expert on how the UK runs.
I'm asking you about this. I would like to know why
you haven't just asked me. You've actually you've made your position quite clear. That the UK are simps, and it's not even for me to answer, because the truth of the matter is I don't even know how prevalent this is or isn't. All right, I know it's happening. How much I don't know. But what I really want to get to, and as we've already established, is why does it bother you? Because it don't bother me. Why does it bother you? Why do you care about the poor old government, which, by the way, I have no sympathy for? They are the ones who created this mess in the first place, this financial mess. If you understand money, even at a basic level, you will know, as I've already explained, I'm not going to say it again, how they have created this mess in the first instance.
Listen,
so I say to you, why does it bother you?
This isn't the only thing I'm bothered about. I get riled up about a lot of things. So
Why
this
does
isn't
this
the only one.
why does this bother you?
I just think it's wrong. I don't spend my days.
Why do you care? There are a lot of things that I think is wrong in the world, and most of those things I don't care about. Why do you care?
I think it's wrong that hardworking middle-class people who are paying taxes are paying for this nonsense.
Again, I extend my sympathies to the middle class. I am with you. I completely agree that the middle class are the ones who are hurt the most because of their government's financial policies. You're beefing with the wrong people. Them poor people who are doing this, they're just fiddling. They're working the system. They're fiddling it. They're making it work for themselves because they know if they do what you're doing, that not only will they be poor, but they'll be miserable and complaining.
Right, but here's another thing.
Which is exactly what you're doing.
Okay.
You're miserable and you're complaining. You're not happy about the situation, but you're
hold on.
directing your angst towards the wrong people. Those people would not do that in the first place if we didn't have such corrupt financial policies. Do you understand this, sister?
Bingo! That's my point. The government shouldn't allow this.
No, that's not the point. You missed the point completely. In fact, I said those people would not do that were it not for their government's corrupt financial policies. It's not that the government should clamp down on this. By the way, that would be impossible, because how do you even do that? You'd have to make boyfriends and girlfriends illegal, because that's how they view polygynous marriages in the first place. The only way you could possibly do that is by implementing Sharia. Make boyfriends and girlfriends haram, and make it incumbent upon registering every single marriage. Then maybe we'd be able to make some headway. What's your practical solution for this? How?
Okay, it's twofold, at least twofold. Number one, if this really is a problem in Muslim communities in the UK, the masjids need to address it.
What do they do? What do the masjids do?
Change the culture.
Which is what?
The culture of doing this, multiple marriages in a country where that's not allowed.
Okay, fantastic. How? We would like to ask you, sister, what's the game plan?
Okay, this is for the masjid, and then the government is number two. But for this, I'm a big believer in shame. Shame-based societies work pretty well in some instances.
So what do we do?
If the people who are leaders of mosques and who are speaking at the mosques, if
the people at the mosque are doing it. What are you talking about, woman? The people at the mosque are doing it. You've got faith in the wrong people. You're not very well connected in with your community, sister. Because if you present this to the masjid, you know what he's going to say to you? Hey, shh, be quiet. Don't talk. We're all doing it. Do you understand? It's way more common. Are you
serious?
It's way more common than you think. But I want to circle you back around.
Are you serious? It's way more.
Let me circle you back around to a comment that you made earlier, which was you believe that these sisters should be celibate. Do you actually believe that? Do you stand by that?
I think you just got owned there. It's way more common than I think. Sister, right from the horse's mouth.
Yes, way more common. So I ask you the original question, which is, you believe that the solution...
Why is it common?
Sister, when I ask you a question, I expect you to answer. And that answer is, the question is do you expect your Muslim sisters to remain celibate, to deprive them of their choice to marry whom they want to? Yes or no? Do you stand by that 10 toes down? Do you stand by that statement?
I stand by it 100 toes down.
Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah. Do you know what I will say to you, sister? One day, Allah is going to test you.
I've been tested. I didn't get married till I was 35.
Hold on. It's not finished. He's going to test you what it feels like to not have a husband. And I hope that you are never tested with this way.
I was
But
tested
typically,
from 20 to 35.
what happens to individuals like yourself who have these types of positions is that Allah tests them with the exact thing that they criticize other people with and about. And we haven't yet established why this bothers you in the first instance anyway. You haven't yet brought forth to the table why you're bothered by it. Out of all the things you could be bothered by, not only are you venting your frustrations to the wrong people, you should be venting your frustrations to the government, but you're not. But you haven't actually explained why it bothers you in the first place. What's the reason?
I told you, this is part of my personality. This isn't the only thing that bothers me. I get riled up over stuff.
So you're bothered for no reason whatsoever other than you're bored, correct?
I wouldn't say I'm bored. I would say I saw a documentary and I heard some things, and I'm asking you about it. And this is just one of a number of things that I've gotten riled up about.
So you for no good reason whatsoever, you believe that your Muslim sisters should remain involuntarily celibate for the rest of their lives because you're bored. Shukran, sister. That makes a lot of sense. David, would you like to add some common sense to the discussion?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you, brother?
Sorry, it did take 1 second to see that I was in. I'm good, thank you. So
yes, what's your question, my man? How can I help you?
Yeah, I've reverted to Islam. I think 6 months ago.
Okay.
I was raised without religion and without the talks of God.
MashaAllah, mabruk, my bro. Where are you from? Are you from like one of the Nordic countries?
Yeah, from the Netherlands.
Amazing, beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm 20 years old now, and so the last couple of years, when I was around 16, I did some crazy stuff. Like I went to some parties and I did some really haram things because I wasn't believing in any faith. And now it's actually going good. So I'm working in construction. I have a good girlfriend. I'm busy with religion. So all things are going very well.
Marry that girlfriend as quickly as possible, bro. Marry her as quickly as possible.
She's Dutch, but she's listening to me. Like I'm talking with her about marriage, and I'm thinking of doing nikah with her this year, very soon. So but my question was like, I have some I don't know, my English is not my first language, but
no problem.
There are
What's
things
the
in my head. Because of the things I did, I don't know how to clean my soul, as spoken of. Like the haram things I have done are following me. Like
such as
it's on my question. So I have drank. I went to parties and I didn't use drugs, but I've drank a lot and I fought on the streets and I stole from people and I did some criminal activities and I hurt a lot of people.
Okay.
And
fine.
I brought shame onto my family and I did some things that were not okay.
Fine.
What are the best ways that you can give me from Islam?
Firstly and foremostly, when you became Muslim, all of your sins were forgiven. You know this, right?
Yeah, I know that.
Not only were they forgiven, Allah says in the Quran, إِلَّا مَنْ تَابَ وَآمَنَ وَعَمِلَ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا فَأُولَٰئِكَ يُبَدِّلُ اللَّهُ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ حَسَنَاتٍ, except those who repent and believe and performed righteous actions. Allah will transform his sins into good deeds. So not only were they forgiven, but all those bad things that you did were transformed into good deeds. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if there is still some type of moral like weight on your shoulders and you feel like it's bothering you morally and you want to do something about it, then there's another ayah in the Quran, innal hasanatu yudhibna as-sayyi'at, verily the good deeds wipe out the bad deeds. So although those sins have been forgiven, get busy in performing more good deeds to compensate for that, what you might have done before, and to help alleviate and relieve this moral weight that you feel. Are you with me?
Yeah. You know, I just saw your post underneath the live stream about this guy Myron, I think, from the Red Pill community stuff.
Yeah.
And the last few years, we have this Andrew Tate figures, like all those coming up, and they say a lot of good stuff. Especially for me, they inspired me to get better. But now, if I'm looking to it, they're saying a lot of bad stuff also, because they're saying stuff that's destroying the West that I'm seeing here.
Okay.
Is hoeing around, and they make Andrew Tate.
I mean, Andrew Tate's not about that life anymore. He became Muslim as well. But Myron, yeah.
Yeah, but like the I don't know their names, but you know the guys from Myron and their streams, etc., who talk about partying and using girls. The West here, especially in the Netherlands, it's really fucked up.
I got you. Listen, bro, don't concern yourself or worry yourself too much with that, inshallah. How old are you?
20.
20.
Yeah.
You want to get busy in learning your religion as it appears that you are, surrounding yourself with the type of Muslim men that you aspire or would like to be like. That's all you got to concern yourself with. Don't worry about what else is going on in the world and all that. But aside from that, David, I'm proud of you, bro. Actually, you know what? I have my business partner. His name is Dave, and he's also from the Netherlands, and he's also a new Muslim as well. Been Muslim for just under a year. So
Yeah.
shout out to the both of you, man.
Okay, now thank you very much for your advice.
My pleasure, Habib. Take care, Dave. Assalamu alaikum.
Bye.
And on that note, gentlemen, make sure you like the stream on your way out. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.